Christina, I love how you guide high achieving women and to slow down, but without losing their ambition. So I want to start with you. What led you to this work? What did your life look like before energy alignment and human design became your focus?
Okay, so I wasn't always in this world of energy alignment. I actually was in the military. I had a little time as a surface warfare officer. And the way this all came about was I grew up just really into all these action movies, watching with my dad, watching people do crazy stuff, go to space. And he would say to me, "You know what I really see you doing? I see you as like the first woman like going to Mars." And I would think, yeah, that's totally what I see too. So I knew I was either going to be like a scientist or a doctor or a pilot, and that was going to get me out to space. I went into college with an ROTC scholarship, and halfway through, I realized I was not going to be a doctor. So a lot of my friends were becoming pilots, and they're still pilots today. I was like, I'm going to compete for this pilot slot. I got it, went down to Pensacola, Florida, and they have this thing called the NAMI Whammy. And the NAMI Whammy is a multi-day physical testing of everything of your whole body to make sure you're fit to be a pilot. So I passed everything and people were getting kicked out left and right. It was so dramatic. I made it to the end. They said, okay, now we are going to measure your body to see if you're going to fit in that cockpit with the ejection seats and this and that. And they said, you're too small. I said, okay. Well, I had kind of heard that that was going to be a possibility because there had been some mishaps and some, broken legs and things when people were ejecting and they weren't the right size. So I said, okay, what else can I do? Because I still have this contract that I'm committed to, I'm obligated to fulfill. And for the next, 4 years, I said, what am I going to do? And they said, you could be in the back seat. And I said, no, that's not me. I'm not a backseat person. What else can I do? And they're like, how about driving warships? And I said, well, okay, sure. So they said, all right, 3 days, you need to report up to Newport, Rhode Island for the Surface Warfare Officer School. This was a whirlwind. This all happens very quickly. So I headed up there. I became a surface warfare officer stationed at San Diego, driving warships. And then when my time was up, I got out because it was not the plan. I had other plans. I had this neck pain, this neck and shoulder pain. So when I got in the military, I was like, hey, I'm going to get this treat. I'm going to try acupuncture. I heard it was really cool. And I had this magical experience. They were doing sliding cups and needles. And I was, oh my gosh, the pain that I had had for years was gone after this one treatment. I applied to that program within weeks and I said, I have to be an acupuncturist. I don't know what this is, but I need to know how to do this for people. So that introduced me to the world of the body's energetic intelligence. And when I was at acupuncture school, that's when human design was introduced to us, which was totally right in line with everything we're doing, tapping into the body's intelligence. And after I became an acupuncturist, I'd go to events. I was super social. And I'd go to all these events and you meet people and they say, what do you do? And you're like, I'm an acupuncturist. And they would always respond with, oh, that's so interesting. What is that? I mean, it's literally what everyone's, it's so nice, right? But you say, well, what it is think of your body like a house. Your body's a house and you've got electrical wiring going through your house. And sometimes those electrical wires disconnect. There's breaks in those lines. And what acupuncture does is it taps into your body's natural wisdom, your natural body's intelligence to reconnect those wires. And when that happens, energy flows and health, comes to the surface. So that's how acupuncture works. And it's very much like human design. Human design is all about getting out of the head, getting back into the body, the spirit, and tapping into your true self and aligning. And then that is how the magic flows in your life. And that is why I got back into human design, because when I became a mom, I think I was so worried about getting it right. It was very disorienting for me. I mean, it was like such a big change. It's like that for so many people. And I thought, I really I really am doing my best to listen to all the experts and figure out how to get this right. But in doing that, I really lost my own compass, and the magic that I had already always seen all around me happening just started to fade away. And I really lost a lot of hope. And so I thought, oh, maybe this is motherhood. So then I was like, one day I was like, I'm going to buy a camera on Craigslist and I'm going to ask my friend if I can just follow her on one of her shoots. And then next thing you know, I'm like a fashion photographer for this big brand, and things just started happening magically again. And it was because I was following my design again. I was following what lit me up as a generator. And I'll talk about some of the types and get all into that. But yeah, that's how I came to this.
I do want to go back before we super explore human design with
Yeah.
you. I saw an Instagram post you had recently, and you were talking about how content you were. And your dad had said, like, I think he was just like, you deserve that because you've been through some really hard things. And it just piqued my interest because I like to know, I like to hear people's stories. What have you been through? What have you overcome? So tell us a little bit about the background of that post.
Okay. So it's very interesting. When I knew we were going to do this podcast, this conversation, you can share energy with people just by interacting with them, with being in their field in any way. And it's interesting is after I saw your profile and your chart, I was like, this makes total sense. See, I've been hiding on the internet. There's a big chunk of my life that I've just like omitted from the internet because that's just not something I was ready to share. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? She's going to find a way to get in there and find the stuff that I have been able to avoid. I just know it. And you did. Like, this was just like, this is how you're doing it. Okay, so my profile, I'm a 6'2" profile, and 6'2" profiles, that is a role model and hermit profile. That two line, what that is people with a two line, their life is divided into three segments. And that first segment, about age, birth to say 28, 30, what is happening there is it's a trial and error period, and it's hard. Was I going through it saying like, oh, my life is so hard? No, I still saw the magic. It was beautiful, but there were some hard parts for sure. One of those is I mentioned when I went down to Florida to start flight school, I was actually married. So I got married to my best friend in college. We were sort of like part of this Three Musketeers, and we lost our best friend. He died, just a complication after a routine surgery. And so I felt really karmically, we felt very karmically bonded at that point. Maybe it wasn't the best match. I even kind of knew then, but it was sort of like life happens anyhow, we're both going into the flight program. The military says, hey, we will do our best to station you together through these years of training and deployments and this and that if you are married. So we got married. But then not only when I moved to Florida to start flight school and then get kicked out, it also became very clear very quickly that this was not the right match. So when I moved up there quickly to Rhode Island, that was the beginning of about a 7-year period where I was married, we were married, but we did not see each other pretty much at all. We had two different homes. We were stationed apart all the time. We never saw each other. He spent a lot of time in Iraq, and it was hard. It was hard. I was very lonely during that time. I know he was surely lonely too. It was a very tough time. So that's part of it. I think that my dad was talking about. So then, I ended up getting divorced when we finally were able to come back together. It's ironic, but it was like, this isn't working. I went to an astrologer. I went to all these. I was like, what is happening? What am I going to do with my life? I grew up as such a like golden child. Like I did everything right. It's just part of my design, just that kind of goody two shoes person. The line sixes know what I'm talking about. This is just part of the design. So what happened was we ended up getting divorced. I was right out of acupuncture school, starting all over. All I ever wanted to really do was be a mom. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm 30 something now. So some magical things happen though with my work. Magical things always were happening with my work because I was just so aligned in that part of my life. So I opened this gorgeous practice by the beach. The patients are just like incredible. It was like everything was aligned there. Then I ended up connecting with my husband, who is just the right person for me. Our friends put us together. And then, I got to have my kids, 40, what am I, 45? I've got a 1.5-year-old now. I've got 4 kids. I just can't even believe my life. I'm just so grateful. But my dad was like, I think he was always like, like through all those years, like supportive, but like, wow, that's tough.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing it. I just love to hear what people go through and how they overcome it. And it sounds like yours just worked out exactly like it was supposed to. So that's beautiful. So I want to hear about your family
Thank
life
you.
now. How old are your kids? You recently moved. Is that all right? Tell me about it.
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz. No, I'm just kidding. Every time somebody asks me, like, what are your kids' names? How old are they? And I'm like,
How old
I
are
remember
they?
you had Elle Rowley on here. I was at this Solly baby thing holding my little baby one time, and Elle goes, "Oh, and what's your baby's name?" And I said, and I couldn't remember. And I was like, well, this is Grant over here. And it bought me a couple seconds. And then I was like, oh, and this is Mark. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so they're
I get
around.
it.
Oh, and I even put the wrong birthday candle on the cake one year. It was last year. And like, people are cool with me. So they're about 9, 11, 5, and the 1.5-year-old. And we live in a quiet place out in Texas. I'm outside of Austin. And literally, it's my hermit line. It is the hermit line coming out hard. Before kids, I was everywhere all the time. But then you still have time to be a hermit, right? When you have kids, your energy is out there all the time. And so that hermit time, moving out here, really, it's almost embarrassing when I have to interact with people and tell them how little I'm doing. I'm honestly kind of embarrassed about it. But then I've also had reactions from people where they're like, thank you. Like, I want to be doing less, or I also do less now, or something like that. But yeah, we have a pretty basic life out here.
I get that. I'm the same way. We live out in the country. We just raised up differently. And it was really special. So I'm with you. But yes, those questions can really throw you. You're like, what do I do? Okay. So let's talk about human design. Because I think for a lot of people, they're like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't get how to relate to it. So just explain it to us. You've done a profile on me, which makes me feel really
Okay.
special. We can talk about that as well.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so human design, let's just do a little quick history. It is a system that is putting together, I'm just going to show a visual. I know we're, just in case, but what I'm showing you is the human design chart. And on the human design chart, you've got this body graph. It's like, it looks like a bunch of shapes and everything. You've got numbers and planets and words. And what all of this is, it's the energetic blueprint of the moment in time that your spirit came into your body. And so think of it as like your energetic DNA. And I want to make sure I make it really clear. It's not a personality profiling tool. It's not, what do you answer these questions on what you think you are? It's literally just what you are. And it's not about doing anything. It's just about existing and being your beautiful self. So, okay, there are so many layers to it, but you can look at human design almost in like a funnel. And at the top of that funnel, you've got the container of this is your type. And the types are manifestor, generator, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. And so I'll go through these types just really briefly to give you a flavor of where this is going. And your type is super important. When you first start out, you want to know your type. You want to really understand how you're meant to move through the world, how you're meant to make decisions in the easiest way. But then as you get deeper and deeper into your chart, into all those little numbers and all the little things, then it becomes less important, if that makes sense. I want to sort of set the stage there. So when you're starting, you want to know, are you a manifest? Are you 9% of the population who's meant to get in there and initiate things? You're the fire starter. You're someone who just makes things happen. You're the visionary. You're not meant to like do all the work, but you're meant to like get it into action. The really important thing for manifestors to do, though, as they move through the world, they need to inform people before they act. I had this teacher, she had a daughter who was always, she's always going out of the house and I never know where she is and it's so stressful. And so she just said, I realized she was a manifestor. And I said, can you just tell me where you're going or just before. So I always think about it. Just announce what you're going to do so you don't stress out everybody around you. Just do your thing, but it's not permission. Just let people know. So that's a great thing, especially if you have a kid that's like a manifester, right? Okay, generators. I'm a generator. That's about 36% of the population. And generators are here. We're built with consistent energy to keep going. We're here to build the new world, doing the things that light us up. Now, generators, we have so much energy. And so we can do that 9 to 5, and we can probably push through anything that we hate or whatever. You can do all this stuff. But where you're really going to make magic happen is by doing what lights you up, and then you become a magnet for things to come into your field for you to respond to. I'm not meant to like go out and make things happen. I'm meant to like sit here, marinate in, my vibes, and then the opportunities come. And then I say, is that a good idea for me? Do I feel a big like, like you hear it. You actually, generators will hear this like, yes. There's a yes, but it's really important for you to respond to the external environment. Okay, next, manifesting generators. That's the combo of the generator and the manifester. You've got the energy. You also start things up. So you are, ready to, you're multi-passionate. You want to do everything. You skip steps. People are like, how did that person just like do it so quickly and skip all around? It's just not fair. Your human potential realized. So you can do it all. Just again, make sure you're responding, make sure you're informing. You've got projectors. You are a projector and it's really cool. It's really cool. I love getting to know people's design. Okay. So projectors, you're talking about 20% of the population. Projectors are here to guide. They are incredibly wise. They see people. You have so much in seeing strategy and seeing efficiency, and you know how to get from point A to point B the quickest. You can see it so quickly and easily. It's so obvious to you. Your genius comes from waiting for the invitation to provide that genius. And it's important for projectors to just hold on to that genius until they're invited, or if their wisdom is not like heeded or respected, they're like, what? Like, what the heck? It's very frustrating. It's very demoralizing. So the magic in the projector is to know how to rest. When they're aligned, they absolutely receive. You can be one of the best receivers. And that's something that this hustle culture, like projectors are the new leaders. They're the new paradigm of leaders in our world because they're showing us, hey, you can do your thing and chill and have an awesome life. That is the goals nowadays, right? And that is a projector. Does any of that kind of connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. Now, when I first read mine from you, it would didn't, I was like, oh, I think I would have to sit with that. It's one of those things that maybe other people would think about you, but I wouldn't think that about myself. Does that make sense?
That is something it does. And that brings up such an interesting thing with human design. So many people who read their human design will see it and be like, yeah, I want to know all about me. And they read it and they're like, oh, no, but not that. That's not me. And that's one part of what you're saying. But the other part is the conscious and the subconscious. And it's what is happening in your field and what people are being affected by. And then there's like what you are doing, just being. Does that make sense in a way?
Yeah.
Let me say it this other way too. One of the things that I remember whenever I learned about any type of archetypes, and you'd be like, here's the 5 archetypes. And I'd be like, in homeopathy, for example, I'd be like, I'm a Nux vomica. because that's like the type A person who does everything right and who's always perfect or something, whatever. It's not me at
Yeah.
all. But I'd be like, oh, but that's what I want to be. So I told my teacher, yeah, he asked, what are you? And I said, I'm a nux vomica. And he's like, absolutely not. He said, one, first of all, you're way too nice to be a nux vomica. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, the patients that come in is that archetype. I aspire to be them and I think I'm them. But when he actually made me look at myself, I was like, I'm not like that at all. I'm like, that's just like what my ego, that's what my ego wanted to be. I wanted to be a type A, but I'm not a type A at all. Oh my God. Do you see my hair? You can tell from my hair. Just, my house. I wish I could be that. So that's one part of it, is like seeing, like you're saying, seeing yourself from how others see you, and then kind of being faced with that and sitting with that. And that is why we call it the experiment. It's so much about experimenting, so much about experimenting. And the other thing is this, to remember, I always say that when you are following other people's strategy, Atomic Habits, okay? Can we talk James Clear? Atomic Habits, okay? Genius, brilliant book. So many powerful tools, right? Mindsets, identity, all these things. You're going to get results. Anyone, if they implement his things, like, they're going to get results. But human design is about flowing and not like pushing uphill. I can push uphill every strategy in the world as a generator and I get results. But the difference is when you're living your design and doing your own thing in your own way, like for a projector, resting is your superpower. Like, it's a strategy. Projectors can be like in their head, maybe they grow up being like, oh my gosh, I'm being so lazy. What am I doing? Am I napping? Like, am I resting, taking time off? No, you are aligning and cold. You're like cooking up the brew. You're percolating. You're not doing anything wrong at all. But these are the things like in conditioning where, again, other people's strategies in a world of hustle, in a world of like, if you want to succeed, you got to do these things. You will get the results, but you'll be exhausted. When we talk about being out of alignment. So when you're like when I'm being the mom that I think I'm supposed to be, doing all the shoulds, like, okay, I need to go to the park for 2 hours a day. And then, whatever it is, I mean, that's fine. All that stuff is good. But when you're doing it because it's someone else's strategy, sure, you'll get the results, but you'll be tired. So do your own thing and flow through life. The magic comes in. I love that you brought that up. That is so true, though, about just being like, wait a minute. No, I don't think so. I love it. That is really part of getting to know yourself in an outside perspective,
Yeah. But that excites me because, like, when you're talking about your work and when you're in alignment with your energy, how things really start to flow, you could see how if you're like pushing against your human design or you don't understand it, so you're not living in that, how you would be just like exhausted. You're forcing things.
Absolutely.
So once someone knows their type, manifester, generator,
Yes.
projector, and then the dual one,
And
what?
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I
you're good.
forgot reflectors. Oh my gosh, reflectors. Sorry, I was so into your projector. Reflectors. Okay, and reflectors. Reflectors are 1% of the population. Okay. Most people are the other types, reflectors. So, in all the centers of the body, that when I was starting to talk about the human design, just it's an energetic blueprint. And it's based on the Kabbalah, the chakras, the I Ching, Book of Changes, quantum physics, and astrology. You've got these centers, and with reflectors, all of their centers are not defined. And so that is why that's a reflector. They're literally reflecting and amplifying the environment around them. So reflectors, it's super important for them to be in the right environment around the right people. Some people are like more, you can be wherever and you do your thing. Reflectors need to be super conscious of the community that they want to amplify. So they need to make sure they're the right people, places, make sure they're like checking to see what's them, what's something else. They can kind of energetically perceive what's going on around, almost like predict the energy of things. The thing about their strategy is they really need to slow down more than anyone. They follow the cycle of the moon, and they need to wait 28 days basically to come to their decisions. It is incredible. Okay, so sorry, but I wanted to make sure I got all the types. Okay, next. Sorry, what was your question again?
Okay, walk us through what strategy and
Yes.
authority mean, and then how do those guide and operate us like day to day?
Okay. So strategy is how you interact with the world in your flow. And then authority is how you make decisions. So with the strategy, I kind of got into that just slightly with the types. And with the manifestor strategy, you let people know. Just say a little announcement before you do your thing. The generators wait for a sign, wait for a call to respond to figure out what's you're hearing is like the right true answer for you. The projectors need to wait for the invitation. And then the reflectors are waiting that 28-day lunar cycle. So that is the strategy. Those are the basic ways you're going to flow through the world. And then your authority is how you make decisions. So I'll say, like, for example, I'm an emotional authority. So I ride a wave. If somebody says, "Hey, do you want to go get coffee tomorrow?" I don't respond right away. I have to be like, okay, coffee. Just like, So I need to kind of ride a little wave before I respond, because I don't want to change my answer. I want to, so I always like give a moment. And with an emotional authority, you also can go through the waves and be like, okay, I still don't know what the heck I'm going to do. What you do is you find that consistency. What kept coming up? What kept coming up was like, yeah, I do want to go get coffee. Yeah, I do. I think I do want to go. So find the consistency. And then so with yours was that self. So you have to like say it out loud. And projectors, like they connect a lot when they say something and then they hear that truth and they're like, okay, that's connected. How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, that definitely connected with me. I'll be really agonizing over something, but as soon as I just talk it out, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, you hear
Yeah.
it, you know it. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
once heard someone say. They said, I hear it and then I
Yeah.
know it. I just know it's true. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there are those ways we can go through and answer our body's own way of getting the answers, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then profiles too. So just to touch on that, just really basically, I went through like, I'm a 6'2" profile. I see that you're a 3'5" profile. These are like the costumes of our purpose. That's what Ra, the inventor, if you will, of human design talked about. And he was a manifester. He downloaded human design in 8 days. He heard it from the voice. I know we're going to get into the woo woo stuff. And it is connected in so much spirituality, but it's a literal download. He wrote it all down. When you see how complex it is, and it's like mathematics of energy and all these ancient texts that have been around forever, all these things that I'm always so fascinated that before we had ways to measure stuff, like acupuncture, right? Like acupuncture's BC. Acupuncture's been around forever. I remember when I went to acupuncture school, some people said, that's so cool that you're doing that. That's so trendy. And I was like, trendy? Acupuncture's been around before Christ. Like, that's not trendy, but okay. You know what I'm saying. Like trendy maybe in the Western world or something, it was like cool in California. But what I'm saying, sorry, I get so excited. Talk about lights you up. I get so excited about tapping into that body's intelligence. You've got to get out of here and into here and into here. And yeah, we can talk more about that, but sorry, I don't even know if I answered your question.
You did. Yeah, absolutely. I did want to hear about what happens when we're ignoring our strategy. So what
Okay.
can shift when we actually
So,
align?
all right. So I love the word just magic. I mean, magic is meant for all of us. It's not like a couple people in this world were meant to have incredible things happen for them. With human design, we are all designed perfectly. Like I was saying before about when I would learn the archetypes. Oh, when I learned human design, I said, oh, yeah, I'm a manifester. I make things happen. No, I don't. I'm not a manifester. That's not my strategy. I have always realized that magic happened when, for example, I got that camera on, it was on eBay. It was on eBay. I got the camera and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I want to be a photographer. Had I ever taken a picture of anyone other than high school art class? No, not really. But it was that my line two, I have this quick mastery and I just learn things really quickly. It's almost line twos, like almost just they're born with these natural talents. And you talk about not really seeing maybe certain things when you read your design and not see. Well, when I read this, I was like, it says you have natural talents, but you don't even know what they are. And that's the truth. But you'll see people are asking you all the time, like, hey, will you do this for me? Hey, will you design my house for me? Hey, will you take pictures of me? Hey, and I was like, sure, sure. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm just doing my thing. But going back to the magic is I got the camera and literally within weeks or something, I was doing fashion photography with this major model, Eugenia. She's like I see her in every movie now. She's she's a comedian. Anyway, I'm photographing her, this like incredible model. And she's like, do you want Cartier fingers? And I'm like, Cartier fingers? What's that? And that's like, when you equally space your fingers so the jewelry just looks perfect, where she's like this and I'm just like, what even is that? But it's because I was in alignment with my design. And that's the stuff where I didn't see myself buying that camera and then putting on these like silk, $600 pajamas on this famous model. And like everybody's waiting for me to tell them what to do. Do you know what I mean? But that's just alignment, right? I mean, can you share a story where you were aligned and just something you're like, how did I get here?
No, I can't. I can obviously not been living in alignment with who I am.
Stop it right now. Stop it right now. My gosh. You are so funny. You can't even be telling the truth because I just know you. You're so funny.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting.
I will think about that and I'm going to come back to it. In fact, when I send this email out for this episode, guys, I promise I'm going to have a story about how I have been living in alignment.
I can't wait. I am so curious about you. And I want to talk about your incarnation cross because that just blew me away.
Okay, tell me about it.
Okay, so when Ra came out with all these different parts of your chart, there is one piece called the incarnation cross. And he was like, no, I'm not even going to share that with people because it's your purpose, but people are going to say, oh, my purpose, I'm going to do that. And he's like, they're going to get it all wrong and they're going to try to do their purpose and they're going to just mess everything up. He just didn't trust us, okay? But finally, he was like, all right, I'll let it. So your incarnation cross, you are like, let me see, it's the Sphinx. The right angle cross of the Sphinx. Okay, so you are truth. You are here to seek truth, your truth, but also to guide others to seek their truth. And I was like writing this and I'm thinking, oh, she's just going to think I made all this stuff up because she does a podcast and she's going to be like, yeah, did you look me up online and like write down, and you have 5 children based on your chart. No, I'm not like, Miss Cleo. I'm not, no offense to Miss Cleo. I just love the, call me now. I don't have like a sorcery ball. It's literally just, I wrote down what was in your chart. And when, you're a cosmic GPS. You're here to guide us to the truth. And the people, when I love your podcast, I love the guests you have on there. You ask them some really personal questions and it just flows. They're telling you their truth. You had Kristen on there, Kristen Miller, she's talking about sex and all kinds. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is so good. You had Amanda Waters talking about her adoption story. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is all this stuff that like I've always wanted to know. But like, how does she get this? How did she know the questions to ask? But my point about the incarnation cross, you're not doing it. So yes, you're doing it because you're doing a podcast. But what the incarnation cross is and your purpose is, it's your field of energy. It's what happens when people are in your energy. And that means like talking to you, listening to your podcast, interacting with you in real life, getting coffee with you. When your friends like want to hang out with you, there's a reason. They're like, I need her to like pull my truth out. I need like to follow my truth. Chelsea, I got to call her up. My truth has like, I've got to follow something here. And just, they don't know it. They're not thinking that, but that's what they're doing. And that's what the energies are doing. One thing that I have in my incarnation cross is about fantasy. And I can be very much in living in my own world in my head. I'm laughing all the time. I'm like village crazy lady. Remember from like Moana? That's how I feel sometimes. Oh, I lost my let's see. Um, but the thing about when people are in my field, there's something about fantasy and being able to feel like all of a sudden people are like, what's possible? Like, I there's more. There's more for me. There's something bigger, higher, and energy starts to expand. You don't even have to know what it is, but all of a sudden possibilities and fantasies start happening. And so I love talking to people about their potential. I'm like, from looking at their house, being like, oh my gosh, like look at this. You've got so much to work with here. I see, and they're like, I hated my house until you looked at it. And I said, really? It's gorgeous. It's a dream house. It's just, you just need to change the paint, Oh my gosh. But that's the kind of thing. It doesn't matter what I'm doing or talking about. And same with you. It's not about what you're doing, but it's who you're being, what you're resonating, what people are feeling in your energy field. And that is also like a magic of human design, because when I read that about myself, I was like, oh, okay, I just need to like be around for people so that they can level up and just, get to their next thing. I just need to hang out with them. I just need to be there. I need to show up. I need to be there. So anyway, did I answer a question?
Yeah, you did. And that actually felt
Okay.
super aligned with me. Like I did. I went to it, my therapist, and she was like, you're uncomfortable when you're not being authentic. And that's true. Like I feel like I need to tell you everything or I'm lying to you. And I feel like that when
Yeah.
people talk to
Right.
me, I'm like, why are you like, I feel like you're talking around something and I don't get it. Like I want to hear your truth. So that really did feel, but I love that, knowing your purpose. That's exciting. Okay, so a couple questions. So I'm thinking you've got 4 kids, and I feel like this could be really helpful as a mother if you understand your child's human design.
Okay. You got me again, Chelsea. You got me again. Because I will explain. Girl, you are good. Okay, so here's a secret. That is not, I guess, a secret anymore. But I have only looked up. Now, I want to answer your question. Yes, you are absolutely right. And that is the whole reason my acupuncture supervisor told us about human design one day. She's like, we need to learn this because we need to treat our children as just the incredible people they are. And we need to honor their systems and their energy and not try to push them into a box. And that is her purpose for sharing human design. And a lot of people have that purpose as well. That's a huge purpose. Like you tapped in right to that. But then I will tell you my personality, I haven't looked at my children's charts, but one. I'm like, who is the favorite child? No, I'm just kidding. But here's the ironic part. I looked at one of my children. Here's one of my kids. He is a projector. Okay. And I looked him up because I don't want to look my kids up because for me, it's the opposite. I don't want to put them in the box of human design personally, because I know how my personality is. So I didn't want to put them in the box, whereas other people see it as like, that keeps them out of it. So it just depends on the personality. But I had to look up my projector. I had to. The kid his energy is just so big. I don't know what's, one minute he's just like all over the place. Next minute he's asleep. Like it was just so much. I couldn't figure it out. And so I had to but I told myself, just look at his type. Don't look any further. Don't. And so I only looked at his type, and he's a projector, because that is one that I have like a blind spot for a lot of the time. There's something about it where that energy, I have a bunch of projectors in my life. Like I've got a friend, an aunt, different people, but it's like I have a blind spot for their energy sometimes, as far as kind of like being able to like dance with it in my head. The relationships work, but anyway, and I do want to talk about the head and the body. I don't even know if I have time to talk about that.
Of course, yeah, share. I want to know about the head and the body.
Okay. So your mind is this incredible, obviously it's so incredible, magical mind, brain is running it, but the brain and the body, two different things. And again, remember I was telling you, like, there are these scientific studies that come out now that are like, oh, look, acupuncture works. Look, you can measure the distance and then the electricity, and you go, okay, it works. Yeah, we knew it worked. Like I said, we knew BC. But same thing now they're saying with the mind and the body. And they're now saying that it's actually your body that knows first, like the answer, the reaction, what you're supposed to do. Like that's like the consciousness. It's not your mind. It's not your brain that's trying to figure everything out. And you might have heard this, but it's a really big trend in the podcast world, in the circles of where people talk about all this. Your brain it's there, think about like prehistoric, man was told like to keep himself safe. His brain was there to keep himself safe. Your anxieties, your brain is there to keep yourself, protect yourself from harm, now from embarrassment, from making a mistake. You can think your way out of everything. I try to talk myself out of buying a palm tree for my living room the other day. Don't want to mess up. Oh, don't spend $22 on that palm tree. You might hate it, and then you'll feel bad about killing it or whatever. But my body, as Christina Aguilera says, my body's saying yes. Okay. My body was like, yes, like that resonates with me. I want to elevate the vibe in my family room. And that's giving me South Beach or like Hampton vibes. And that's where I'm going in the energy of my life right now. Okay. So I got the palm, and it just reminded me that my brain is just in there telling me all this stuff to talk me out of everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just tap back into the body. One way I love to do is, there's this heart math, this group that does all these studies on like measuring kind of like the science between, getting out of your head, going into your body. And when you even just do the simple act of putting your hand on your heart and just breathing into that space here in your chest, you literally get out of your brain into your body. And when you tap into that, that's tapping into your body's natural intelligence. I even like to take it a step further and have my non-dominant hand go below my belly button and just breathe into your body and just take a moment. Heart math does this thing, heart coherence. As you're doing this breathing, you want to call in a time of incredible gratitude for something. Maybe it's something that you imagine would be incredible, something that has happened that's incredible, but resonate with the feeling of gratitude while you're doing this. Literally take 90 seconds of your morning and then ask your question. This is a great way to start your day. Ask your question. What am I supposed to do today? What do my kids need today? What do I need today? Whatever your question is. I like to just keep it to one question. What do I need today? And then just be quiet. Stay out of here, stay down in here. And the answer, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it, and you're going to start to recognize when it's your mind answering it and when it's your body. I'm telling you, just the simple practice, 90 seconds every day, you will come to it very quickly. And it is going to blow your mind, because it is so magical, because the intelligence is here. It's all here. We're all looking at AI. We're trying to like get our intelligence everywhere. This is so much more intelligent, so much more intelligent, so rich. We can tap into it so deeply. It's beautiful. Everybody has it. Everybody has it. You don't just have to be a manifester. Remember, like I was saying, like I always want to be the thing, but like No, your thing is the best thing. You just got to find a way to like tap into that and flow into it.
So good. So good. I love that. I love any like little practice that I can start to put into my day to make changes.
So good.
I have so many more questions for you, and honestly, I could talk to you all day, but we are running out of time. So I want to talk to you since we're all kind of about perimenopause here. I want to talk about hormones. I want to talk about aging with you.
Yes.
What have you noticed? Are you going through perimenopause? And I want to know so much more because you're also going through like postpartum during perimenopause. And I'm about to do that as well. I'm due in, I don't know, 7, 8 weeks. So yeah. So I want to know
What?
everything from you.
We yes, yes. Oh, sorry. So just energetically, that is okay. This is so cool. So, and this is baby number for you? Yeah, 6. Yeah, I'm holding up the 6. So, I'm part Asian, but I didn't get the math gene. Literally, every time a number comes up, I panic. Okay. All right. So, I will say this. I had my 4th baby after 2 losses, and those were the only 2 miscarriages I had. And it could all be so many different reasons. But I will say that with this 4th baby, I bring that story in because I was so extra grateful that she was here. And it's my girl. I had 3 boys and I had a girl, which, I would have been happy with any baby, but, that is the soul that came in. So I was so happy, so grateful, just like aligned, all these things. But I always wondered if it was because she was a girl, if that kind of affected my hormones differently. If it was because I was older, if it was because there's just so much more on your plate now that you have another child, once we start getting up and up, in the numbers. But I will say it was the hardest postpartum in a way. Those first 3 months were absolutely amazing bliss. But there was always like, I always explained it to my husband like this. It's like a fine line. Whereas before it was like, okay, it was up here. But when I had her, my mood and my happiness, it was a very fine line. And I still dance that line much more delicately than I have with my other babies. And I'm sure part of that is also I'm rolling right from baby to perimenopause to, like I could be a grandma, like I don't know. But in that way, the hormones are so different. Day 1 of my cycle is like I'm on the couch. Like there's mom sleeping, must be day 1. I'm just like it is zero energy. That's something that's happened over the last few years. I never remember having to schedule things around my cycle. Oh my gosh. And what I do now is like, I do a lot of comfort things. I bought a little TV recently for my family room. I'll play like It's Complicated, a good Nancy Meyers movie throughout the day sometimes. And I always tell my friends who check in on me, don't worry, I'm not depressed. I'm not depressed. You know me. I'm lit up about stuff. I'm doing stuff I love. I'm excited. But it's hormones and it's sleep. And that's totally normal stuff. It's something that I'm so glad is such a conversation now, but it's something that, like I said, I check in with my delicate line and I'm always just, making sure. My husband always says it's so difficult to be positive on those nights after you just don't get good sleep, It's just harder. It's harder to see the silver lining on things sometimes.
So it seems like you got really clear on your cycle. Is that what you've done?
Oh my gosh. Yes, the cycle syncing, that has been a big like trend. Haha, it's hilarious because again, it's like, hello, cycles have been around since BC. So again, like it's not new. But this whole idea of people like women being like, "Hey, you can actually schedule your productivity to your cycle. You're not meant to be like productive 28 days a month. Like but you can be most productive if you just kind of do your planning during this phase, do your meetings during this phase. And like that's something, especially getting into my 40s, the perimenopause time. Oh my gosh, what a tool. Like, thank you, people for bringing this to the forefront.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love talking to you so much. Just your excitement is so contagious. Like, I feel like I'm leaving this podcast and, like, with my human design chart lit up, like, more with more energy and excitement to do things that align with me. And I really want to get clear on that. So I'm so excited to dive into that. Talk to me about where we can find you. I think you also do these human design, like, you have a sample or something. Tell us about that.
Okay. So technology is incredible now. And I've got software on my site. You just head to ChristinaJWarren.com. Right there on the site, you'll see Get My Chart. Click on that. And, you just get your full chart. You got to get your birthday in there, your birth time, your birthplace. And then it's going to generate a chart for you. You're going to be able to get a free mini reading. I also just added an audio reading on there that you can listen to. And it's kind of cool because, again, like when you first hear it, some things are going to click. And that's how I describe it. I'm like, just listen, be patient, and be present and see what resonates with you. Anyone who's practiced human design, experimented with human design, knows that when you first were experiencing it, there was one thing that you just latched onto that was like, that's magic. And like, you follow that. Then you look at your chart, you look at your reading years later, and you see 20 other things that you're like, oh no, that's what I need to hear right now. And so pick up on what resonates with you, experiment with that. You're going to get a whole way of me guiding you to read your chart. But yeah, just head over to my website, get your chart. It's so much fun.
That is amazing. Christina, thank you so much for being here. You're such a treat.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. I love your podcast. I feel so honored to be here. You magnetize really incredible people because, like I said, it's your aura, it's your energy, it's the Sphinx of truth. It's you. So it's just like you leveled me up in so many ways just by sharing energy with me. I can't even tell. I'll tell you later maybe, but you helped to level me up by seeing certain things in me. So I really appreciate you so much. Thank you.